رضيت بالله ربا وبالإسلام دينا.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Ramadan and Qur'an are inseparable. We talked about that last time. What's something we should also comment on is how does Allah describe the Qur'an as He's describing it in the ayah of Ramadan, right? He says, Shahru Ramadan, the month of Ramadan, is the month alladhi unzila fihi al-Qur'an, in which the Qur'an was revealed. And he said that's the time when the revelation began. And then he said, Hudal linnas, it is a guidance for people. Wabayyinatim min al-huda, and it is clear evidences that show the guidance. Wal furqan, and number 3, it is something that clarifies right from wrong, what's correct and what's incorrect, what's good and what's evil. It clarifies that. 3 interesting qualifiers. Number 1 is Hudal linnas, a guidance for humanity. If you think about this statement, it's really interesting that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says Hudal linnas here. It is a guidance for humanity, not Hudal lil muttaqeen, which is what He says about the Qur'an in the beginning of Surah Al-Baqarah, that this is a guidance for the people who are pious. The implication is that Hudal linnas, Ramadan is a time because we are openly practicing our faith. Everybody around us will in one way or the other find out that we're not having lunch at work, we're fasting, so they will be curious to know about Islam. This is the perfect time for us to share the guidance of Islam, the guidance of the Qur'an with the masses, because we are living that guidance as we speak. Hudan linnas, this is the time to share the Qur'an with people. Number 2 is bayyinatin min al-huda. Al-bayyina is something that's a clear evidence, something that is very obvious. The Qur'an provides many types of evidences to justify its claims, to back up its claims. If Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala talks about resurrection, that people will be born again, He gives examples of that in the Qur'an, how that happens in this life, so that it's not completely far-fetched. It's not implausible for a person to see something that's happening that resembles resurrection and then understand that this is how the resurrection in their next life is going to be. Bayyinatin min al-huda, evidences that the Qur'an gives. This is the time Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions the idea of evidences with Ramadan, because if when we are fasting our hearts are purer, those evidences are clear. We study them now, the evidences will be clearer and we'll be able to absorb them more and more. The last thing is Al-Furqan, the thing that distinguishes between the right and the wrong, the good and the evil. And the stories of the prophets, which is a prominent feature of the Qur'an, the previous prophets, the previous nations, what are they showing? They're showing how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is separating the people who were on the truth from the people who are on falsehood. Even though majority of the time the people of the truth are weaker, they're smaller in number, they have less influence, but because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is with them, they eventually succeed. وَالْعَاقِبَةُ لِلْمُتَّقِينَ. The end is for them. This is also a very important characteristic of the Qur'an, that it builds in us this important ability to start seeing what's right and what's wrong. And that is also, this quality is amplified during fasting, because we are in more control of ourselves, we are controlling ourselves in a large manner. So this control is amped up when we discuss it in Ramadan as well. 3 beautiful descriptions of the Qur'an right after Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions in Ramadan, because all 3 of these things, guidance to people, as this is the time to share this message with people, understanding the evidences, because this is the time when they will take deeper root, and then the ability to make the distinction between what's right and what's wrong. All of that right now while we're fasting is going to be more accessible, and that's why Allah mentions it. I ask Allah to give us the ability to understand the Qur'an. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.